Hello, good morning, Dr. Thusha. I'm Nur Fatrah binti Hussin, together with my partner, Ain Nasuha binti Mohd Yusoff. Will be presenting on assessing EFL listening and speaking skills during remote teaching. This article has been written by Carmen Benitez-Correa, Cesar Ochoa-Cueva Alba Vargas-Saritama. The study focuses on assessing EFL listening and speaking skills during remote teaching due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It involved 388 participants, including EFL teachers, senior high school students, administrators, and parents from private and public educational institutions in Ecuador. The study utilized a quantitative approach, analyzing surveys, employing a Likert scale to gauge perceptions of assessment methods and tools used during remote teaching. There are several problems raised in this article. The first one is the lack of use of reading aloud tasks and conversations of assessing listening and speaking skills during remote learning due to time constraints and poor internet connectivity. And the instructors limited use of retelling stories and interviews to evaluate listening and speaking activities, possibly due to a lack of training and awareness of the benefits of these assessment methods. The third problem is teachers' insufficient experience in using digital tools, including gaming, for teaching purposes, and a lack of prior training in working with games or gamification. Next is the absence of proficiency tests in EFL classrooms due to their focus on determining students' proficiency levels, which is not common in high schools. And the fifth problem is challenges faced by EFL teachers in adapting online assessment practices to the resources available to the circumstances during COVID-19 pandemic. And the last issues raised is the need for well-trained teachers to to make informed decisions and select appropriate tasks for speaking tasks, considering students' linguistic abilities and course goals. So, moving on to the literature review. The literature review encompasses various studies that focus on assessing EFL learners' speaking proficiency, exploring the forms of assessing EFL learners' speaking skills, and examining the online educational journey of EFL students within a higher education institution during the COVID-19 pandemic. Previous study by UNIS 2017 in Gates, Tunisia, surveyed 20 instructors to understand their professional teaching experience in conducting oral skill sessions and the methods used to assess speaking. The findings revealed that tasks used to assess speaking skills were mainly focused on developing students' speaking skills through the use of analytic rubrics and interactive and authentic communicative activities. The main types of classroom assessment were formative and summative. Another study by Sharin and Saleh, 2020, investigated the online educational journey of a cohort of English as a second language students within a higher um, education institution during the COVID-19 pandemic. The research aimed to assess whether the students' learning styles and technologies employed complemented each other effectively. The findings indicated that most students preferred learning styles aligned with the technologies that they have encountered in virtual classrooms, suggesting a positive relationship between the technology in use and the students' learning style preferences. However, the study also highlighted a concern regarding the emphasis on receptive skills listening and reading in the specific skill-based pedagogy language classroom with a notable lack of attention to productive skill, which are speaking and writing. The article discusses various studies and research conducted to assess and improve EFL and ESL speaking skills in educational settings. It explores um, the impact of technological tools such as e-portfolios, peer assessments, and virtual reality settings on student speaking performances. The studies also focus on the influence of formative and summative assessment as well as the alignment of students' preferred learning styles with the technologies used in the online classroom. And it also highlights the importance of adapting teaching methods and assessment tools during the COVID-19 pandemic, emphasizing the need for a wide spectrum of assessment techniques, including online quizzes, video-based speaking evaluations, and electronic writing assignment. So the methodology of this article is it is a quantitative study with 388 participants from public institutions and private institutions, where 102 of them were EFL teachers, 174 senior high school students, 32 administrators, and 80 students' parents, representing a diverse range of educational institutions in the southern region of Ecuador. The research instruments included questionnaires for students, teachers, administrators, and students' parents, each utilizing a 5-point Likert scale, 5-point agreement of Likert scale. These questionnaires were designed to determine the types of assessment and the methods and instruments used for assessing the effectiveness of listening and speaking skills. The sudden shift from face-to-face learning to remote teaching to the COVID-19 lockdown necessitated adaptations in teaching methods and assessment practices. The students' proficiency levels varied from A1 to A2 according to CFR. And that's all from me. Let's proceed with my partner.
Good morning, Dr. Thusha. My name is Ain Nasuha binti Mohd Yusoff, and I'm going to continue the presentation with the implementation of the study. So this study involved 388 participants, including 102 EFL teachers, 174 senior high school students, 32 administrators, and 80 students' parents from public and private educational institutions in Ecuador. Purposive sampling method was utilized to select participants who could provide valuable data for the study's objectives. The instruments were administered using Google Forms because of the COVID-19 lockdown and people can't meet face-to-face, and prior validation and piloting ensured their reliability and accuracy. And the study also received formal approval from institution administrators, and consent letters were also obtained from parents for the students' participation in the study. The research instruments included questionnaires with a 5-point Likert scale to gather data on assessment methods and perceptions related to EFL skills assessment. Another data analysis was conducted using the SPSS software, and the surveys underwent a validation process to confirm their reliability, as indicated by an internal consistency score of 0.7 based on Chromebox Alpha. So the study aimed to explore the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on EFL assessment practices and the effectiveness of remote assessment methods in evaluating listening and speaking skills. Overall, the implementation of this study has involved a systematic approach to data collection, analysis, and validation to provide insights into the assessment of EFL skills during remote teaching, particularly in response to the challenges posed by the global health crisis. Next, we move on to the result of the study. So, this study has yielded several key findings. We have four key findings that we have found are important from this study. So, the first one is the utilization of online technological tools. Teachers, they predominantly use online tools such as quizzes, chat rooms, and blogs to assess EFL listening and speaking skills during remote teaching. The next one is the assessment methods. The formative and summative assessment approaches were commonly employed to evaluate the students' abilities in listening and speaking skills. And also, some educators incorporated peer assessment and project based assessment methods during the pandemic. The next one is the limited use of certain assessment methods. While online tools were widely utilized, certain assessment methods, for example, reading aloud tasks, conversations, interviews, story retellings, and educational games, were less commonly used. This is to indicate a preference for formal assessment methods over interactive and informal ones. Next is the recommendations for future research. The study has suggested the need for experimental studies to determine more adequate tools and processes for evaluating students' listening and speaking skills. It also highlighted the importance of continuous exploration and improvement of assessment techniques in remote teaching contexts. Overall, the study provided insights into the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on EFL assessment practices, emphasizing the adaptation of teaching methods and assessment strategies to ensure a very effective evaluation of students' language skills, specifically the listening and speaking skills, during these tough times, which is during the pandemic. In conclusion, the study on assessing EFL listening and speaking skills during the COVID-19 pandemic sheds light on the adaptation of educators in public and private institutions. The findings has revealed a shift towards online tools such as quizzes, blogs, and chat rooms for assessment, showcasing the successful utilization of technology in evaluating students' language proficiency and affirm the success of the assessment process even in the face of the imperative shift to remote teaching methodologies during the COVID-19 pandemic. While traditional methods like reading aloud tasks and conversations were underutilized, the study emphasizes the importance of incorporating diverse assessment strategies, including peer assessment and project based evaluation. The research underscores the need for further exploration of effective and adequate tools and processes for evaluating listening and speaking skills in EFL education, which highlight the transformative impact of the pandemic on teaching practices. Next one, the study also faced several limitations that should be considered. The first one is the participant variability. Although the study included a diverse range of participants, such as students, teachers, authorities, and parents, the number and type of participants may have varied, potentially impacting the generalizability of the findings. Next one is the scope of research. So the study has focused only on a specific context of remote teaching during the COVID-19 pandemic, which is only focusing in the Ecuador. So this limited scope may restrict the applicability of the results to a broader educational settings or different cultural contexts around the world. Next one is the research instruments of the study. While questionnaires were used as research instruments, the study did not elaborate on the validity and reliability of these tools, which could affect the accuracy and consistency of the data collected. The next one is the lack of in-depth analysis. The study provided insights into the use of online tools for assessment and the types of assessment methods employed by teachers. However, a more in-depth analysis of the effectiveness of these tools and methods could have provided a richer understanding of their impact on student learning outcomes. The last one is the future research directions. The study has suggested the need for experimental research to determine more effective assessment tools and processes. However, the study did not delve into specific recommendations or methodologies for conducting such research, leaving room for further exploration in this area. From this study also we can learn a lot of new insights and valuable insights for us as teachers. The first one is the adaptation to online tools. So the study has highlighted the successful adaptation of educators to online tools, such as quizzes, chat rooms, and blogs to assess or to test the students' skills in their listening and speaking skills. So this insight has given the importance of leveraging technology to facilitate or assess the students in a virtual learning environment. The next one is the diversification of assessment strategies. And the findings has indicated that educators has diversified their assessment strategies by incorporating peer assessment and project-based evaluation. This insight has emphasized the value of using a variety of assessment methods to comprehensively evaluate the students' listening and speaking abilities. Next one is the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. The study also has given a significant impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on EFL teaching and assessment practices. It highlights the challenges that has been faced by educators in transitioning to remote teaching and the innovative approaches adopted to ensure a continued learning assessment will always be implemented no matter what the situation is. And the last one is the transformation of EFL teaching. The study indicates that the pandemic has transformed the EFL teaching practices, leading to the integration of remote assessment methods and tools. So, this insight underscores the evolving nature of language education and the opportunities presented by technology in enhancing assessment practices. Overall, the study provides valuable insights into the challenges and opportunities associated with assessing EFL listening and speaking skills during remote teaching, which offers guidance for educators like us to face the pandemic itself. As an ELT professional, this insight has informed my professional development and practices by emphasizing the need to adapt and integrate various assessment techniques to effectively evaluate our students' listening and speaking skills during remote teaching environments. The study findings also underscored the importance of leveraging technology to provide instantaneous feedback and track students' progress meticulously, aligning with the current trend of digital integration in language education. And I believe it is important for us as ELT professionals to learn new things from this study and apply the knowledge that we can learn into our own daily teaching routines, and especially during tough times like pandemic or anything that we need to use online teaching. So this kind of study can be our reference and very important to us to give new insights towards our professionalism. Hence, in my opinion, the study's emphasis on the seamless integration of remote assessment methods and the use of various assessment techniques is aligning with the evolving landscape of language education that we have now. It also underscores the need for ELT professionals to embrace or to keep up with the technology and innovative assessment strategies to ensure a very effective evaluation of students' language skills even during remote teaching environments. As an English teacher, the integration of online tools in our education, particularly in the assessment methods, is a very critical step, very important step towards modernizing our approach to teaching, which is aligning with our modern world nowadays. So the diversification of assessment strategies is not just a necessity, but it is also a significant advantage of a virtual learning environment. It allows for a more deeper understanding. It allows for a deeper understanding of a student's abilities and provides various means to demonstrate their proficiency. Uh, the academic the COVID-19 pandemic has indeed been a change, a huge change for educators, pushing educators to explore and implement innovative teaching assessment methods. And also, the rapid shift to remote teaching was challenging, very, very challenging, but it also opened many doors to new possibilities, such as the use of AI for language practice and assessment, video presentations, and online discussion forums that we never thought could possibly happen during online teaching. So, these can also cater to different learning styles of the students. And the transformation of EFL teaching through technology is an ongoing journey. It never stops. Every day you can learn new things in technology, and as educators, we should keep up with the trend and we should just embrace it and keep up with our students' knowledge about technology. This includes using many digital platforms. There are many available digital platforms out there that can be used for teachers to be used during online teaching, and we can use them for collaborative projects, incorporating multimedia resources for language immersion, and also employing analytics to track the students' progress, which can also assess them. And in my view, the future of language education lies in a blended approach that combines the best of traditional teaching methods with the innovative tools that technology can offer. From my experience during my degree years when I was a TESOL student back in UITM, I had the chance to learn virtually starting from my second semester up to my sixth semester. And once we got to meet our lecturers physically after the pandemic, they told us how they had to struggle in learning and adapting with online teaching, and they had to learn from other lecturers who are more proficient in these technological tools within a very short period of time because they had no time to adapt to it. They just had to learn very quickly because our class was starting, and no matter what happened, we had to start our class. And it was online, and they had no, some of them had no basic experience to online teaching, so they had to learn it in a very quick of time. And hence, I think one of the suggestions could be perhaps the Ministry of Education. Maybe they can help a course or training in order to teach educators about the complete and comprehensive knowledge in handling online classroom, from doing the online meeting, how do you do the online meeting, how to use the features that are very, very advantageous on Google Meet, on Zoom, and how to mark the students' assessment that can be used in Google Classroom, how to test them in certain skills, for example, the listening and speaking skills. Perhaps there are tools out there that can be used to measure these skills virtually and so on. And this is to ensure that no matter what the situation is, education will still be ongoing, no matter if it's during pandemic, online teaching, offline teaching, physical teaching. No matter what, education is still important, and students still need to be assessed by the teachers. Next, we are going to relate the topic of the week with relevant professional and personal experiences as ESL teachers. And also, in my context as an ELT professional, these insights resonate with the current trend of integrating technology in language education. The study's findings align with our personal experiences in adapting assessment methods to cater to diverse learning styles and also the challenges posed by remote teaching. It also reinforces the importance of leveraging technological tools and diverse assessment techniques to effectively evaluate students' listening and speaking skills in the current educational landscape. We are going to relate this study with the topic of the week, which is CALL, which means Computer Assisted Language Learning, which CALL is an approach to teaching and learning languages that uses computer as an aid. It encompasses a wide range of ICT applications and methodologies to facilitate and help the learning of foreign languages, and in this context, English. And The brief overview of CALL is it has evolved from traditional drill and practice programs to a more contemporary methods like virtual learning environments and web-based distance learning. And it also emphasizes interactive and individualized learning, allowing learners to progress at their own pace and ability. And it also includes tools like multimedia, internet resources, interactive whiteboards, and mobile assisted language learning. And it also emphasizes the use of blended learning, which is frequently combined with face to face teaching in a blended learning approach to enhance learning potential. And overall, we believe that CALL aims to make language learning more accessible, efficient, and can be tailored to individual learning needs. And we believe this topic, which is CALL, can relate to our professionalism as ELT, as teachers, English teachers, and also it resonates with the current trends and practices in our context, and also can be related to of the study that we have chosen, and also it emphasizes the importance of using technology in the teaching and learning practices. That is all for our presentation. I hope that our presentation has covered all of the aspects that are needed for this assignment. Thank you very much, Doctor.